Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's shailah.leshe. Today is Makeup Monday and I'm showing you guys an easy tutorial on how to highlight and contour for beginners, creating dimension in your face and sculpting your face, giving it that nice finished look. So stay tuned. Okay, so as you can see, my face just looks super flat. There's no dimension in my face whatsoever. There's nothing is defined or anything. It just looks like all one color, all flat and just round. And yeah, so we are going to add some dimension to my face and create shadows on my face, because that's what contouring is. When you don't have highlight and contour, your face just looks bare and it just looks super flat. Highlight and contour sculpts your features more and it just adds to your overall makeup look. So we're gonna add some dimension. So when you are highlighting and contouring, you first start off with your highlight. So I'm gonna take my concealer to highlight my face. I am mixing the MAC Pro Longwear concealer and the LANCOME ULTRAWEAR high coverage concealer. I'm mixing these two because this one is a little light and this one just warms up the color a little bit, so I'm gonna mix these two together. I'm gonna start off with my concealer. So I just mixed them together on my palette. Can you see that? I just mixed them together on my palette, and now I'm just gonna take my little sponge, it's just a mini sponge, and I'm going to add it to right underneath my eye. So when you're adding your concealer underneath your eye, you want to make like either like a triangle, or you could do like a small Nike sign, but you want to stay above your cheekbone. Like right on your cheekbone is where your concealer should be. So we're gonna make a Nike sign, so it's just gonna look like a check mark. So down and then up, but stay on that cheekbone, okay? So I'm gonna take my beauty blender and start right underneath my eye and just tap downward, just a line, and then I'm gonna make a check mark. So I'm gonna go downward and then up. So it looks like a check mark, right? So now I'm just gonna fill in that space. So you see how I went down and then I went up and I stayed right on that cheekbone. It's just a little check mark and it's not all the way down here. Some people, like I said in my very first YouTube video, some people like putting their concealer all the way down here and then their contour, and then it just makes you look like you have 5 o'clock shadow, and we do not want that. We want to stay right above the cheekbone. So Nike check mark down and up. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the same thing to the other side. And you don't have to use a whole ton of product. A little goes a long way. So I put my concealer a little underneath my eyes because I already have eyeshadow and mascara on. Because I did my makeup before I showed you the highlight and contour. The only part I didn't do was the highlight and contour. So, but I did all the rest of my other makeup. So I just don't want to mess up my eyeshadow underneath my eyes. So I put it a little underneath so I could be able to blend without messing up my eyeshadow underneath my eye, if that makes sense. I'm going to highlight the bridge of my nose with my concealer using my beauty blender. And we're just gonna make a small thin line going straight down. So you just dab it on straight down just like that. So after I put it down the bridge of my nose, I'm just gonna go upward in like a little triangle right here and connect it to my bridge of my nose. And just make like a small little triangle like that. That's gonna highlight my forehead, and then I like to highlight the bottom of my chin like that. So normally you would just place your chin highlight under the lip, just right underneath, but I like to make my chin look a little more fuller, so I place it all the way down. But it's totally up to you. Everyone's chins are different, so it's totally up to you. Sometimes I also like to go underneath my nose and above my lip and highlight that little area in the center right here. Just a little bit. Like that. And that's literally all you do for highlight. Like, this is it. So we're highlighting underneath our eyes, we're highlighting down the bridge of our nose, we're highlighting at the top of our forehead, our chin, and a little above our lip. When you highlight, you're creating shadows. So anything light jumps out and anything dark falls back. So when you're highlighting your features, you want certain features to jump out and certain features to fall back to create more dimension in your face. So when we're highlighting underneath the eye, it's just erasing any dark circles that you have underneath your eye. It just completely erases it. And then you add the contour around your face, so the center of your face is like jumping out and the contour is just creating dimension to your face, and it's just falling back and creating dimension. Hopefully that makes sense. You'll see once I put my contour on, and I'll show you a before and after so you can see the difference as well. So now I'm just gonna blend in all of this concealer with my beauty blender sponge and just make sure that everything is buffed very nicely into my skin, and you don't want to see any harsh lines. What I mean by harsh lines is, you see how you can see my makeup right now? You need to blend it until you can't see any of these lines. You have to completely erase these harsh lines. Also, just a side note, you want to make sure that your beauty blender is damp when you're applying and blending in your makeup. Always just make sure it's damp, not soaking wet, just a little damp. And when I'm blending in my highlight, you see that I'm still staying on top of this cheekbone right here. I'm not going underneath the cheekbone. I'm staying right on top. So when you blend, make sure you stay right on top of that cheekbone. It should only be right underneath your eye. And when you're blending in your concealer under your eye, you want to make sure you're getting all the way underneath the eye. Right now, I have on makeup, like I said, so I'm not trying to mess up my makeup, but when you are doing it without your makeup on, because you do this step after you do your foundation, just to let you know. Right after you do your foundation, you do your highlight and your contour. So normally you wouldn't have eye makeup on, so you want to make sure you're getting right underneath that eye. Okay, so now this is all blended in nicely. So now I'm going to blend in the bridge of my nose and my forehead. So you want to make sure that you're keeping that skinny line. You don't want to blend and make the line too wide. You just want to keep that same width. And you're just going to stay right here in the center of your forehead, because it's supposed to be highlight, foundation, contour. So you don't want to put your highlight up too far. Okay, so now my face is highlighted. As you can see, these areas are just kind of jumping out to the camera a little bit more. So now we're gonna add the contour to the perimeter of the face, and it's just gonna bring everything together and create these really nice dimensions and definition to your face. Okay, so I'm gonna take the NYX Pro Foundation Palette. I'm gonna take these two dark colors right here and use this for my contour. Okay, so when you contour, I always like to start off with my cheekbones. So I like to make a kissy face like this and then smile. And then you can see the line of where you're supposed to apply your contour. So kissy face and then smile. It looks weird, but you can see where that shadow is supposed to go for your contour. Right there. So I like to start on this bone right back here. That's where I'm gonna apply the majority of the contour, is on this bone, and then I'm just gonna lightly bring it down towards the center of my cheek. You see how I'm just sculpting that cheekbone? That's all you want to do. So I'm gonna just do the same thing to the other side. Start on this backbone and then bring it down like that. So I like using like a small smudge brush for when I contour my nose. So I'm just gonna take this smudge brush. So when you're contouring your nose, I said this in my first makeup video, but if you didn't watch that video, it's totally fine. I'm gonna repeat it. So for when contouring your nose, if you already have a prominent bridge in your nose, then you don't have to start your contour all the way up here and bring it down. You can start more in this area, this region right here. You don't have to start all the way up there, because what you're doing is you're just defining your nose even more, and you're just gonna make it look even more harsh. If it already is prominent, then you don't have to make it more prominent, because that's the whole point of your contouring your nose. You're trying to make a more prominent bridge in your nose. But if you already have a prominent bridge, then you don't have to create that extra dimension right there, if that makes sense. So what I'm gonna do, since I don't have a prominent bridge, I'm gonna start up here, and then I'm gonna bring my contour straight down. And then I'm gonna turn it around right here and then bring it up. And go straight down on the other side. Just like that. You want to make it look like you're getting a nose job almost. So you're going to line your nose all the way around. You see how it just creates that dimension, like your nose is skinnier and that bridge is more prominent, because when we blend these shadows away, it's going to, this light part is going to jump out and the dark contour is gonna fall back. So then it looks like your bridge is more prominent and it's coming out more rather than it being flat. It's gonna create dimension to it, okay? So then we're gonna take the other brush again, the fluffy brush, and we are going to put some around our temples of our head. So I just put like a light strokes around the temple like that. It doesn't have to be anything heavy. Light strokes are totally fine. You just want to get it as close to your hairline as possible. Then I like to sculpt out my jawline, so I'm just going to take some back here and create a line right there. So when you do the jawline, you want to do behind the jawbone and then come forward on the jawline. So behind the jawbone and come forward. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by blending my cheekbone contour in, and make sure that your beauty blender sponge is damp when doing this. So I'm gonna make the kissy face again, and then I'm gonna smile. just so I can see where I'm supposed to be blending in my makeup. So I'm gonna start in the back and work my way forward. Right on that edge. And I'm also going to blend this part right here because you want to make your cheekbone look round. That's what this shadow is doing, is making your cheekbone rounded. So we're going to also blend underneath to get rid of that harsh line. You see how it's creating my cheekbone is looking more sculpted and round? Before it was just kind of flat and non-existent. But you don't want to get too high because you don't want to go on top of your concealer that you just did. So stay right on that bone. Right on top of that cheekbone. Remember, no harsh lines. It should just create a shadow. Like your skin, like your face just looks like it just has all this dimension in it. No one should be able to see your contour and your highlight. That's not cute, okay? You want to blend it in to look seamless. So we're only blending the edges. You don't want to blend the actual makeup because you don't want to rub your contour off. So blend around the edges. So now you can see that I still have foundation right here. I have my contour and then my highlight. It's not blending into each other. You can see the difference. You can see that it goes from light to dark to light. So you want to make sure that you're not bringing your contour down too far where it's going into the foundation zone. So it's supposed to be foundation, contour, highlight to create those dimensions. Okay? So now I'm just gonna go on my forehead. I like to do my nose last because my nose is my favorite part. So I just like to do that part last. So you just want to blend this right into your temple, right in your hairline. So another thing you could do if you want, this is total preference, you could put some underneath to get rid of your double chin. And then you can just blend that in. And that'll make a shadow around your double chin. So when you're taking pictures, it kind of falls back and not jump forward. Just a quick nail cam. These are my VIP lash extensions, press-on nails in Snow White. Definitely check those out if you haven't yet. And I also have a tutorial on how to apply them. So definitely check that out. Okay, so now we are going to move on to my favorite part, the nose contour. I don't know, I just love this part because when that nose is snatched, honey, it just completes the look, you know? So, just blend the sides down. But see, I'm still staying where my line is. I'm not going all the way out here to blend it. Stay in that same perimeter of where the line already is and just blend out those harsh edges. So now you see that you can still kind of see that harsh line in the center. I'm just going to lightly dab that line where it's harsh. But you don't want to take away from the highlight in the center of your nose. So you just want to lightly dab those edges away. So now I have my nose blended in very nicely, creating that dimension, that bridge that I told you, that fake bridge that I created by adding the contour and the highlight to my nose. Now my bridge is jumping out, the center of my nose is jumping out, and these dark shadows are creating dimension in my nose to make my nose look more prominent. And as you can see, it's doing the same thing for my cheekbones. My cheekbones look more sculpted and rounded. You see how now my makeup looks more complete? Before it just kind of looked very flat and just dull. There was no type of dimension to my face at all. But now it looks more complete. It looks more done. You can see my features again. When you only have on foundation, you can't see your features. You completely erase your features when you only put foundation on. So to bring your features back, you have to highlight and contour to make your features come back. So that's what we did, and it looks flawless. This looks nice and sculpted. So after we do the cream contour, so you do highlight with your concealer, then you do contour with your cream contour or your foundation palette, whatever you want to use for contour that's creamy, you can use that. And then we go over it again with powder contour. So highlight, cream contour, powder contour. So now I'm going to use my powder contour to go over those same contoured areas that I went over to set my contour in. And it just makes your contour look more intense when you use the powder contour. Some people set theirs with just translucent powder, but I like to use the contour powder to make it a little more intense. So I'm mixing my matte contour powder in dark deep with my black up contour powder in number 3. So when I'm applying my powder contour, I like to use a more fluffy brush like this. So I'm just gonna mix those two, and then I'm gonna go over all those same areas: my cheek, my temple, my nose, and my chin. And make sure you're not adding your product too high, because then you'll have to redo your concealer. Just like that. Alright you guys, so this is the final look. Hopefully this makes your highlighting and contour process a little bit easier. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate it. Your support definitely matters. Clicking that like button, commenting, subscribing, it all counts. So I just appreciate you supporting me this far. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah.